What's up to all you marks out there, and welcome back to the Exposed Turnbuckle, as yours truly, Patrick, is going to break down WWE Raw for you tonight. My initial thought is it was pretty good. It wasn't overly. It definitely it seemed to have taken a step back from last week, but overall, it progressed the storylines and feuds, and there were a lot of lengthy promos this week. All right, so let's get into it. So Raw opens up with the with a promo video covering all of Strowman's destruction on Roman Reigns, and then the ring collapse with Big Show. Jericho's music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. Jericho says he's going to beat up his old muttonhead best friend Kevin Owens, and he says that he's not really the face of America, but perhaps the hemorrhoids of America. Jericho says, "You know what happens, Kevin Owens?" And then The Miz's music hits. And then The Miz says Raw is no longer Jericho, and it hasn't been since Miz and Maurice have entered. Crowd says you suck. Miz says that's impossible because he's not from Kansas City. Jericho says, well, I guess you better watch. Long pause. And Miz says that's adorable, and now he's about to announce Miz TV, and then Dean Ambrose comes out. Dean says, Jericho, you're right. Miz is a stupid idiot. Miz says, Jericho never said that. And Jericho says, well, I was thinking it. And Ambrose is like, yeah, I knew he was thinking that. He says, he's rooting for Jericho, even if he goes to SmackDown. He gets into how they've gone to war in the past. And he brought up destroying Jericho's lighted up jacket. And then Jericho's still salty about that. Jericho says, well, you still owe me 15 grand for that jacket, by the way. And Ambrose says, well, I don't have 15 grand for you, but I have a gift. And he opens it up, and it's just this crappy Macy's suit jacket, and it has a bunch of Christmas lights attached to it. And Ambrose says, there's only thing one left to do. Try it on, man. Miz chimes in, says, no, no, no. And then the crowd softly says the yes chant. And then, so one thing that The Miz is really good at is he definitely pays attention to the crowd, and his crowd reaction definitely has a big influence on how a lot of his promos go, and he's one of the best. Alexa Bliss is also great at this too. I'll get into maybe both of them, like the idea that both of them together would be a great duo. But yeah, Miz is the best male right now, and Alexa Bliss is definitely the best female promo. So when Miz says no, no, no the second time, the crowd says yes, yes, yes really loud. It evokes a huge yes. Yes! Miz says that Ambrose's jacket is ugly, and every day that he's holding on to the Intercontinental Championship, he is devaluing. Yes! Miz says he's here to save them from the hideous talent like Jericho and Ambrose, and superstars should be lining up to give them gifts. And Ambrose says, well, in fact, I did get you a gift, and he gives him a Dirty Deeds. And then Jericho says, hey Maurice, you know what happens? You know what happens when your husband is a stupid idiot? And then he puts Maurice on the list. This was a good segment to start the show. It was creative that you had all of the superstars who have talk shows interrupt each other's talk shows. I thought that was clever. And of course, they're all intertwined with history of feuds and such, so the chemistry was already there. And all three of them are based mainly off sarcasm and comedy. So it was a good mixture of all three of them getting in some good promo time, and overall it was a really good promo. Alright, next up we got Matt Hardy and Sheamus. We had Jeff and Cesaro last week, so now this is the other two competitors from the respective tag teams duking it out. Alright, so basically the ending to this match was Jeff Hardy hits the ropes on the apron because of something that happened on the outside. Sheamus becomes distracted. Cesaro shoves Jeff Hardy off the apron, and then Matt Hardy hits a twist of fate for the win. So after the match is over, Cesaro confronts Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy because he thinks that Jeff Hardy cheated and he's the reason why Sheamus lost. And so they switched roles. So then Sheamus was the cool hand, and then he was all about respect. And so he put his hand out there. Matt Hardy was like, "Dude, are you serious? Like, really just gonna give me your hand?" And so after like a while, they handshake, and then Sheamus lifts Matt Hardy's hand up. So I mean, it was confusing to me because if the Hardys are to win the pay-per-view, usually a good rule of thumb is whoever loses their match right before the pay-per-view usually ends up winning at the pay-per-view. So it's confusing that Jeff won over Cesaro and Matt Hardy won over Sheamus. So I mean, if Cesaro and Sheamus don't win the title, then that's going to be 3 collective losses. So you'll have 2 singles losses by both, and then they'll be beaten as a tag team. So I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to lose. So um, it's just my hunch, but it would seem super logical that Cesaro and Sheamus would get their tag team run, and maybe the Hardy Boys thing is coming to an end, and maybe they're going to start pushing them more as singles acts. Wouldn't be a bad thing. I do think that the Hardy Boys are running its course, and it's kind of becoming less and less. It's not as exciting. Um, it was a lot like the Dudley Boys, how they came back and it was cool, and we were just like, hey, oh my God, it's the Dudley Boys, like this is gonna be awesome again. And then after like a month, it was just like, hmm. So I don't think that they want the Hardys to go stale for fear that maybe the broken element might not pop as big. So I think it would be good. It would be good timing to let Cesaro and Sheamus win the tag titles because they are a great tag team, and I think that they could do a very good job holding up the Raw because they could work. Because Cesaro and Sheamus are good athletes and they work well together and they're experienced veterans, so they can help brood up a hot tag team. It's a shame that the revival went down because I was kind of seeing that where Cesaro and Sheamus would win, and then Cesaro and Sheamus would give it up to the revival. Only because I do think that the Hardy Boys as a tag team, that era is coming to an end, and their singles run will start soon. I think. So we'll have to see about that, but yeah, it is confusing. If the Hardys do win, it to me that looks like a burial of Cesaro and Sheamus. But like I said, I don't envision them losing, so look for them to catch with some gold on Sunday. All right, we go to the back, and Kurt Angle is back there. Miz shows up and complains about Ambrose and Jericho ruining his moment. Angle says now we finished up in the ring, so now he's going to be in a tag team match versus Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho, and he's going to have to find a tag team partner for later on tonight. Not much to it. Pretty much just a prelude to the main event, so nah, not really much to comment on here. All right, so next up we had Neville and TJ Perkins teaming up versus Jack Gallagher and Austin Aries. This was a super quick match. The finisher was Aries hits a discus 5 on Perkins, and Aries and Gallagher win. Really wasn't a lot of offense at all. I don't even remember Neville even being in the match. So it gives Austin Aries a win, and I think it will add to a future storyline where Neville will take TJ under his wing, but then after a while he'll get fed up because TJ Perkins always loses. So he'll be like, "Oh, you're a loser. Like you can't hang out with the king," and he'll be like, "Yes, I can," and that storyline. But yeah, it was just a quick match to get uh, Gallagher, Aries, Neville, and Perkins some FaceTime. Perkins eats a discus 5 and he gets pinned, and Aries and Neville stare down, and again, this would be this is the whoever loses usually wins on the pay-per-view. I do think that Neville will retain because you really don't. There's no need to rush this feud. You know, you can, like I said in earlier videos, you can let Aries keep knocking on the title door for a little bit, just keep getting shut down, and then SummerSlam or something of that nature, something on down the road, he ends up, it accumulates into him winning the title. Like it used to be. Like you just keep going and you can't quite get there, but then when you win, because too many times like people will come in and they'll just be like, oh, well, I haven't done anything for a while, and now I'm the number one contender, and look, I won the title. It's like, what? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's crazy when you used to watch wrestling as a kid, you were more invested in the characters, but now when you're an adult, you see it more as an act and kind of critiquing and looking at different things rather than being invested in the characters. I think that the main thing, like me personally as a wrestling fan, um, in order for me to enjoy your character, I have to be invested in your character. Bailey had me for a brief moment until she won the title and still nothing changed. Like you can only play the underdog for so long. Once you're the title, you're no longer the underdog. So your character has to evolve. It can't just stay like, oh, I'm still the underdog, like root for me. Like you're not the underdog anymore because you're the champion. So there's no feel good like beatdown story. Honestly, kind of looking forward to Sasha turning on Bailey and beating the shit out of her. Cause I don't know, like Bailey just doesn't have the look of a women's champion. If there was like a intercontinental title for like women, like she would be that all day. But a women's champion, I don't think so. All right, next up we got the dumpster match between Strowman and Kalisto. Strowman says everyone in the crowd is trash, and when he throws Kalisto in the dumpster, it'll be like he's throwing each and every one of the crowd in the garbage. Um, I think this was a good promo stating that yeah, you may cheer for me because I'm beating up Roman Reigns, but I'm still not your friend. I still hate you. I still hate everybody, and you shouldn't cheer me because I'm a bad guy. So I thought that was a really solid line. Just acknowledging that he's getting cheers when he's supposed to be destroying the earth. So it was just a coy little line to remind everybody that he's a badass. He's not a hero. Pans to the back and Kalisto's jumping around. He did have a new outfit. It was a cross between like if Ultimo Dragon and Rey Mysterio had like an outfit baby. That's what Kalisto was wearing. Wasn't bad. Wasn't really an improvement. I think he had new theme music too. Um, whatever. I liked the old outfit better. But and I don't see what was wrong with his old theme song. But so Kalisto comes a little bit repackaged, and so Angle's like, "Hey man, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, damn, think about it, man. I mean, this is your life." And Kalisto goes, "I have to do this because I am a man. I'm honor and blah 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 blah." And Angle's like, all right, man, go ahead. Have fun. So this match consisted of like 4 moves, and the ending was, well, the match ending was Strowman was on the apron, and Kalisto goes for a missile drop kick between the ropes to Strowman's knees. So Strowman leaps back to dodge it, but he accidentally jumps into the dumpster. So Kalisto gets the win. Obviously, this enrages Strowman, and he just starts going to town and murdering Kalisto. And so then, so once he pretty much becomes bored of killing Kalisto, he picks Kalisto up and disposes him like garbage. Like, just like we would a piece of paper, just a fling. So then, but he's not done then. So he takes the dumpster and then he starts pushing it up the ramp. And then he gets some straps and then he straps the dumpster. And then a bunch of referees and people come out and they're like, no, no, don't do this. Oh my God, don't do it. So, of course, Strowman doesn't give a shit. So he takes the dumpster and then he pushes it right off the ramp. Pretty much the same thing that happened to Roman Reigns, but the Roman Reigns spot was way cooler. The dumpster just landed on the side. Like, yeah, if he was in there, it probably did hurt, but you know, wasn't as great. It already been seen, and it already been seen better. So, but it just reinforces that Strowman is in fact a monster among men. So we cut to the back, and Kalisto is being loaded into the ambulance, and Kurt Angle is walking beside it, making sure that he's okay. So they get to the ambulance, and so it was almost the same exact thing as Roman Reigns. So it kind of like the people kind of like pan out of the screen, and so it closes in on him, and it just shoots Kalisto for like 4 or 5 seconds. So the whole time I'm just thinking, I'm like waiting to hear like, I'm not through with you yet, but it didn't come. Maybe that was the WWE troll, but yeah, I was expecting it. And then Kalisto just got loaded into the ambulance and he's gone. Could be a way to write him off for a little bit. And he did get a win. He did debut his new song and his new outfit. So, you know, a win over Braun Strowman's nothing to sneeze over, I suppose. Cut to another creepy Bray promo, and he's describing the House of Horrors, and he says that every room is an endless nightmare. He states again, Orton will never leave, and the house will be his eternal prison. Basically, it was the same promo that he's been cutting every week. It was alright. Alright, so now we got Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox. So as Alicia is beating up Dana, Emma makes her way to the ring. Then Dana, so as Emma is making her way to the ring, it distracts Alicia, and so Dana picks up Alicia and puts her into the fireman's carry, and then flips her in front of her and drops her for the pin, and then she wins. So Dana Brooke gets a win. Crowd did not. The crowd is very indifferent. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Just lots of nothingness. And so Emma comes in and she starts like hugging Dana, and then Dana's like, "Oh my God, get off me! Like Jesus Christ!" And then Emma just clears the room. Basically, it was just like another little nugget into the Emma Dana Brooke feud. At this point, it's starting to seem forced, but I hope that this match starts sooner rather than later, so each of them can move on to better things. So we cut to the back, and there's a promo with Gallows, Anderson, and Samoa Joe, and they'll be teaming up against Enzo and Cass and Seth Rollins. So Gallows and Anderson start trashing on Enzo and Cass, and then Rollins says that he's going to make Rollins pay for what he did to Steph and Triple H, and it's really so like pretty much anything Samoa Joe says, it always sounds good. It always sounds believable. It's very well polished. Whoever taught him how to do promos did a really good job because it's just that classic style. I can't describe it. People who watch good wrestling promos just know he just has that good classic promo. It's just always reliable. It's good. It's good. It's solid, and it gets the message across. You don't really need to drone on about it. So Enzo and Cass make their way to the ring, and as they're about to hit the ramp, or as they're about to hit the ring, rather, Gallows and Anderson jump out from the crowd over the guardrail and start attacking him. And then Seth Rollins comes out, and then a brawl starts, and then so Enzo's laid out. He can't fight. So Angle comes out to the ramp and he says, "Well, I found you guys a tag team partner." And Finn Balor comes out. So this is 2 weeks in a row that Finn Balor's just had like a random appearance in a match. So yeah, I mean, it really leads me to believe they have nothing going on for this dude. So basically, how the match went is Balor got ganged up for a while by Gallows, Anderson, and Joe. Um, Rollins hit a wicked, sick blockbuster off the top rope on Anderson. So at the end, Rollins went for a pedigree um, on Anderson, and so he's got him double underhooked. So he looks to the crowd, and then he was just like, "Nah." So then he picks Anderson up, and he has him from the back. So then he's holding on to one arm. He slings him forward like a dancer would, and then he brings him back in, and then he gives him a jumping knee finish. And I thought this was pretty good. It's not the curb stomp, and it's not the pedigree. I mean, if Triple H is your sworn enemy, you can't really just be going around finishing everybody with his patented finisher. So if that was his new finisher, it was pretty cool. It's quick. You can bust it out at any moment, and it looked powerful, it looked well done, and it looks wrestler friendly. So I did like that move. Can't wait to hear what he named it. All right, so then we got a Alexa Bliss promo. She says that superstars come out all the time saying who they want to beat up, what big stars there will be, and some come out saying that this was their dream and they finally made it and had a WrestleMania moment. So this little part was pretty good. So as I was saying, how the Miz plays on the crowd, Alexa does the same thing. So Alexa is doing a promo, and so the crowd does that annoying what thing. I hate it. Like seriously, like it's like the worst chant ever. It's so dumb. I hate the what chant. I was never a fan of the what chant. And so she goes, "Really? I mean, are we doing this again?" And so they keep going, "What? What? What? What?" And so she goes, "Oh, if Alexa Bliss is the best, say what?" And then they go, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And I thought that was that was probably the highlight of her promo to me personally. So she's going on, and Bailey interrupts her. So she comes down the ring, and she says that Alex is not a good person, that she's the type of person who would go and talk about people behind their back. And she's going to keep fighting with everything she has to remain the WWE Women's Champion. So Bailey mentions that it's in her hometown, and Alexa gets really excited, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is in your hometown? I mean, your dad and stuff's probably gonna be there, right? Like your mom and oh, I can't wait to crush you in your own hometown." And Alexa says she couldn't even believe that it was in Bailey's hometown because she thought that she was from Candyland, which made me laugh. She said she can't wait to beat her in front of all of her loved ones. So then she gets really nasty, and then she goes, "Bailey, have you ever kissed a boy?" And I feel like this was a total off the cuff line. I don't think anybody wrote this for her because as soon as she said that, she changed her tune so quick. And then she was like, "Well, at the end of the pay per view, Cinderella time is over. I'm going to take that glass slipper, I'm going to break it, and then I'm going to become the WWE Women's Champion." And then just starts getting bucked. So I think that she may have like dug into something that can't be dug because she's such a role model like for the kids. Like what's Bailey gonna say? Like, "Oh, I have a porn video out there," Like she's not gonna be able to defend herself on that specific comment. So I think it was good. It was quick work by Alexa to kind of cover her tracks and move on to another insult, so that you could just kind of just sweep it under the rug and forget about it. But yeah, Bailey's just kind of like a punching bag. She just sits there and just takes it, and Then it looked like, I mean, obviously it was planned, but it looked like Bailey was like choking on her words, so Sasha had to come out for the save and basically talk for her. She says that the person who has the gold around here is the top dog, and you can't just come in here and just be the woman. You have to earn it. And so then a strange part happens, and so Alexa's like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable being around you. Um, so I feel unsafe, so I'm gonna have to leave the ring now." And so Sasha goes, "Oh, well, if you're feeling unsafe," and then hits her with a forearm, and then she spills from the ring. So we come back from commercial break, and now we have the official Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss match, with Bailey joining on the commentary. So it was going a little bit back and forth in the beginning, and Corey Graves and Bailey were getting into it on the announcing segment. So Corey Graves is like, "So what's it gonna be like when Alexa Bliss takes your title in your own hometown?" And Bailey goes, "Well, it's going to feel great when I go home and retain my title in my own hometown." And she goes, "You know what, Corey? You're just like everybody else. You don't believe in me. Because nobody believes in you, Bailey. Because you're a bad champion. You got pushed way too quick. You missed your Mania moment because you got it on a random Raw and totally ruined that moment for yourself. And your storybook is over. We already saw the chapter. You won. Sweet. Now what? Like, do something else." Her character just has to evolve a little bit more to get more invested back into it. So as Bailey and it was pretty much just it was more about the commentary than it was the actual match. And so it pans back to the match, and Alexa Bliss just comes out of the ring, and she's just done. And so she lets herself get counted out, and so she's walking up the ramp, and she's staring down Sasha, making faces, like grumbling to herself. So as she's about to hit the back, Bailey catches her, and she's like, "Nope," and she's bringing her down into the ring. So Alexa runs up the ramp and runs to the back. So Bailey doesn't chase her. And so Bailey, after probably 10 seconds or so, turns around, starts heading back down the ramp. Then Alexa runs back up and then hits her and then runs back into it. So these two elements were super great heel tactics, and Alexa's just finding ways to express being a heel without while bringing fresh ideas. Haven't seen just oh well, I'm not even gonna give you the time of day and just have myself counted out. Some people might not like that ending. I did like that ending. Um, there's no reason for any of the for either. There was no reason for either Sasha or Alexa to get the pin over each other. So it was pretty much just another feather in the heel cap of Alexa. And then it also showed her cowardly heel tactics when she ran to the back, and then while Bailey had her back turned, she came back out and then slammed on the champ. So it gives more build, and it as a fan, it should make you feel bad for Bailey, but it really doesn't. This is definitely a story where you want the bad guy to beat the good guy. So I do hope that Alexa wins, but I don't think that she will. I think that they are going to keep it on Bailey, until the Sasha feud happens. But it would just be nice. It would be nice to see it on Alexa because she could do so much more with it, and Bailey's just kind of more of a placeholder. All right, so we cut to the back, and Jericho and Ambrose are talking. Ambrose says, "Forget about the past, man. Forget about all those matches and the jacket." And Jericho goes, "I'm still mad at you about that jacket. That was 15 grand that you owe me." Then he brings up the fact that he had to take out 66 thumbtacks out of his body, that vicious pay-per-view match that they both had. And that was a good match. Probably one of Ambrose's last good matches. So as Jericho's yelling at him for being mad, Ambrose is like, "Come on, Bo. you got to take me off the list. Like, I'm your tag team partner. We need some good vibes. Just take me off the list. And he goes, all right, you know what? I'm going to take you off the list. And so Ambrose goes, sweet, we're going to kill everybody. Doesn't even matter who Miz has. We're going to kill them all. So he runs up the ramp, or so he runs off screen. And then, so Jericho's looking around, and then he takes his pen back out, and then he puts Ambrose's name back on the list. It was a good little segment. I just wish that Ambrose's character was more focused on being intense and crazy rather than comical, because there are a lot of comedy type wrestling acts in WWE right now. So, and there aren't too many vicious like psychos, like, and that's what he's supposed to be. That's what his gimmick is. Supposedly he's supposed to be crazy, the lunatic fringe, but he never does anything crazy. So I just wish that it would slide more into that rather than just comedic effect. So cuts to the back, and Kurt Axel and Heath Slater are being interviewed, and Miz says it's their lucky day because he's going to let them both duke it out to be Miz's tag team partner. And so Slater's like, dude, I have a partner. And then Rhino comes up and he's eating nachos, like, or no, I think he was eating cookies. And so he offers some cookies to Maurice, and Maurice like, get out of here with that shit. And then Rhino is just kind of like, oh, fine. You don't want to be my friend, but I don't care. Like, oh my God. Like, this guy was a badass in ECW, and now look, dude, just go back to the indies, man. Just go back to the indies. So, a message is delivered while they're talking, and Miz is like, oh, well, look here. Looks like I don't even need to look for a partner, because a partner found me. It doesn't spoil it yet. So we cut to the ring, and Kurt Hawkins is wasting more valuable TV time, and he issues another open challenge, and this time Apollo Crews answers it. Crowd still not popping for Apollo Crews. Nothing has changed. He still comes down the ramp the same. He still does all of the things the same. And pretty much the match was Apollo cartwheeled and jumped around for a while, and then he hit a sit-down powerbomb for the win. Titus O'Neil hits the ring and starts promoting him, starts raising his hand and stuff, starts taking pictures, and Apollo's not really feeling it, but it looks like that he'll probably end up, joining the dark side and signing with the Titus brand. So overall, it gave Apollo Crews a win. It's disheartening to see that he hasn't changed anything. I mean, he literally, like, nothing, none of his moves have changed. His postures, his mannerisms, he's still fucking smiling like an idiot all the time. Um, it's just, it's going to be a huge waste when the next time that they give him a significant storyline, that the crowd's not going to be into it, and he'll probably just end up getting released. Maybe the Titus thing can save him. Titus has just been hanging back, and it's something new. Haven't really seen anybody try to recruit anybody, so neither of them are obviously anywhere near title status. So it gives them a back storyline to work on. So maybe he can work with Apollo. I just hope that it doesn't turn into another comedy act, because there's too many on Raw already. And that's what I used to like about SmackDown up until recently, is that it was more serious storylines. I mean, comedy is good when you sprinkle it in, but you also want to have intensity too. So it's good to have a mixture of both. A message from Roman hits the screen saying that the last 2 weeks has been the most pain he's ever felt, between his brother dying and the beating he was given by Strowman. And he says he's not afraid. He took down The Undertaker. If anything, Strowman should be worried. He says that he's the big dog and this is still his yard. Yeah, I mean, we all know the story. Uh, Braun's holding it down while Roman's in absence, and Reigns is gonna come back. Few spears, Superman punch here and there, final spear. Roman wins, crowd's pissed off, and life goes on. So he is the big dog, you know? Not that he deserves it, but he doesn't not deserve it either. I mean, the crowd was the crowd was chanting, "We want Roman. Roman sucks," uh, throughout most of the dumpster match. So whether you acknowledge his existence or not, he still has an effect on the crowd. He's just a part of the show. Um, it's just like, Thanksgiving plate. Like, yeah, you can have a Thanksgiving plate with just turkey on it, but you want turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, bread. You need a variety of different things. And Roman just, whether you love him or you hate him, he's the same with John Cena. He invokes a strong reaction, and that's really what you want. You don't just want like an Apollo Crews or like a Dana Brooke where it goes out to the ring and then nobody reacts either way. It's better to have a crowd that's just booing and being super loud rather than just having dead air. So it will be cool to see him come back. I thought that he would make an appearance on this show, but I guess they're just gonna save him for the pay-per-view itself. So it cuts to the back, and Angle asks Miz if he found a partner yet. So Miz says that he didn't need to find a partner because the partner found him, and he's not going to spoil it, but when he finds out, he's going to feel extra sorry for Ambrose and Jericho. So it's time for the main event, Jericho and Ambrose versus Miz and his mystery partner. Ambrose comes out first. Jericho comes out wearing the Dean Ambrose Macy's Christmas light jacket. And so the Miz comes out, and so he goes to the ring and he goes, "All right, and the moment you've all been waiting for, my tag team partner. My tag team partner." So after he does this a few more times, he goes, "All right, sorry guys, my partner's not here. We can't do this. So sorry to everybody. Have a good night. I'm out." So Angle comes on to the ramp and he says, "I told you, man, you need to find a partner because you're going to have a match with you, like it or not. And that match starts right now." So then a handicap match starts between The Miz versus Jericho and Ambrose. So in the early stages, of course, Miz is getting the shit kicked out of him. So it goes to the outside, and Miz gets a little bit of offense in on Ambrose. And then the tide turns back on Miz after Ambrose has to get a hot tag in on Jericho, which just made me laugh because, I mean, in a handicap match, you should never have to use a hot tag. I mean, I don't know. It was just funny to me. I don't know why. It just made me laugh. But so eventually Ambrose takes Miz up the ramp, and he starts, doing his revving up thing, looking at the crowd, getting all intense. So he drags Miz onto the announcer's table. And so it looks like he's about to dirty deeds him through the table. Then the lights cut off. And then it pops back on, and Bray Wyatt is standing in Miz's place. And the look on Ambrose's face was perfect. Just complete shock and disbelief and surprise. So Bray starts going to town on Ambrose, brings him up the ramp, and then hits standing Sister Abigail on the screen to Ambrose, just throws him right into the screen. So Jericho comes down the ramp trying to save him, but then the Miz and the Bray gang up on Jericho. So Jericho gets a Sister Abigail, and so Bray's standing over Jericho, and it looks like the show's about to end. So Miz, he's like, "Yeah, good job, man. I mean, we're amazing. Yeah, yeah." So Bray looks like Miz's touch burns him, and then he gives the Miz a Sister Abigail to a huge pop, by the way. And then he kneels over and he tells everyone to follow the buzzards. And then the Raw officially ends that way. So basically, this Raw, we had a lot of promos. It was a lot of little minor uh, feud progressions to lead into Payback. Overall, it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a lot of great wrestling moments per se. There were a lot of promos, a lot of lengthy promos, and eh, the main event ending was kind of crappy too. Just a surprise Bray entrance and Sister Abigail on everybody really. So let's see. I gave Raw a 6, I believe, last week. I do not believe that this show was as good as last week. So I would give this a 4.5. Um, it was good enough to where, obviously I would watch the whole thing. One, because I'm a fan. Two, because I review it. But it never got to a point where I was just like, oh my God, like this is terrible. Like I wish I could just channel flip right now. But it wasn't anything where I was just like, I'm gonna tell anybody tomorrow. Nothing really too exciting happened, but it was a good go home show for the pay-per-view. So 4.5 on the Patrick scale for this week. And that is pretty much going to do it for your review. So thank you all for coming out, and if you are still watching, thank you for watching until the completion of this video. It's always nice to see those end screen element stats. Um, we do have so we started the channel 3 weeks ago, and the subscribers are slowly coming in. We only have 11, and it's been 3 weeks, but we're in this for the long haul. We're in no rush. We do have over 18 hours of viewing time and 450 views in 3 weeks. So, I mean, at least we're generating some kind of interest, and we do it because we enjoy it, and we do like talking wrestling, and we do hope to interact with you. And I have been trying more to get onto other people's YouTubes and interact with them, whether it's through their chat room or whether I link up with some people on the Twitter. I've been using Twitter a lot more, trying to get, just trying to branch out, and work with fellow wrestling YouTubers. So be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe, and until next time, you crazy kids, see ya.